Hello, everybody. Jason with Learn and Survive. Hope you guys are doing well, staying safe, taking care of yourself, but more importantly, taking care of one another. I want to do a few videos on communication security and how to communicate securely across two-way radios. I want to cover from the very simple to the very complex. And I want to do this in short videos so you can document this information if it's something you want to use. So, first of all, let's address the two different types of radios, analog and digital. If you have an analog radio, if you're lucky, you'll have voice inversion on that. And voice inversion has got a lot different the last few years than when it originally came out. Originally, it just played your broadcast backwards, so anybody that didn't have a radio that was voice inversion capable would just hear backwards gibberish. And then the radio with it would pick it up and convert it and play it. They'd hear it the right way. Over the past few years, manufacturers have started coming up with their own proprietary inversion on this, with technology changing. So now it is not only backwards, it is taking that transmission and it is chopping it up into pieces and kind of scrambling it all up together and backwards. So it's a little more harder to, if you have the software to decipher, it's going to take you more time, and nobody really has that software. So even really older radios or really cheap radios that are just using a plain old standard voice inversion is not going to be able to do anything with that. With these proprietary ones. If you have digital, oh boy, if you have digital, you're probably going to have ASE grade encryption on it, which is police and military grade encryption. And with most of them, you can program your own key. So only radios that have that key are going to be able to decipher that transmission. So that is great. There are a bunch of public keys that are used in this too that come programmed in the radio depending on what radio, and if it's using a proprietary, there's just a whole lot with it. But they'll have the proprietary, then they'll have like ones that are publicly available for any digital radio. So you always want one where you can program your own key into it for that reason. Now, as far as simple security goes, we're going to start off with the simplest one. You tell everybody at the beginning of the day a number. And if they're asked to verify, they're going to give you two numbers that equal the number you gave them. So this is going to serve two purposes. One, it's going to verify the identity of the person originating the transmission. Two, if they're in any kind of danger, they've been taken captive, somebody's trying to get them to talk, so you'll talk and they gather information and intelligence that way. You're going to know, because the way this works, we'll use the number 13. Let's say Bill calls in, says, Bill to base, come in base. You're going to come in and say, we read you, Bill, verify. And if everything's okay, Bill's going to say 67. 6 plus 7 equals 13. It's Bill. Everything's okay. If there's people around, if there's any, taken captive, whatever, you ask to verify, he might say 25, which would equal 7. That is not the right answer. Something's going on. To proceed with caution and not to give away any information. At that point, you might want to try and extract a location from that person to see if it's feasible to launch a operation to rescue them, or what have you. That is the most simple way of doing anything like that. Is it perfect? No, but it does provide a layer of protection, and it does provide a way of securing your communications. So that is part one of that. So part two of that, let's say they verified, they gave you the two numbers that equal 13. You say, okay, copy, go to channel whatever, and you don't want to never tell anybody what frequencies you have for your channel numbers. So you say, okay, we understand, Bill, go to channel Ghostface or channel 10 or whatever. Flip to that channel. You have a couple communications back and forth, very short. Then you go to another channel. You're going to keep hopping frequencies. You're going to make it hard for them to follow you. Another thing that can be done, and this can only be done on radios between two people, if you have a radio that has dual watch on it. Radio 1, you're going to set your top frequency as your broadcast frequency. You're going to set your bottom frequency as your receive frequency, and you're going to have to turn on dual watch for that. So the second radio, you're going to put your receive frequency as their broadcast frequency, and your broadcast frequency as their watch frequency. So you're talking on one, they're talking on another, and the radios are flip-flopping back and forth. So if anybody's listening, they're only getting one side of the conversation from either one of you. So unless they happen to miraculously have the same frequencies programmed in their radio like that. Those are about the two simplest that are going to provide you some protection. It's not perfect, it's not great, but it's the most simple one that anybody can offer. We'll go into other ways of doing this that are going to get more complex and more harder as you get down the line, and they're honestly more secure. With that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I will talk to you guys later. Stay safe.